Assalamu alaikum dear students. All of you know about in the previous class we have discussed the spinal cord, and today our topic is reflex action. So coming toward the definition of reflex action. Okay. An automatic immediate quick involuntary response to an environmental stimulus is called reflex action. Or simply we can say fixed response to an environmental stimulus is known as a reflex action, or an automatic, quick, immediate, involuntary response to an environmental stimulus is known as reflex action. The path by which the reflex action is take place is called reflex arc. Reflex arc. Okay, the path by which the reflex action take place is called what? Reflex arc. Okay. This reflex arc consists of three types of neuron, that is motor neuron, sensory neuron, and interneuron. Actually, these three types of neuron make the reflex arc. Okay, the reflex action is controlled from the spinal cord. Means it is controlled from the spinal cord. Means there is no relation of the reflex action with the brain. Means it is not concerned with the brain, while it is controlled from the spinal cord. Okay, but coming toward the mechanism of the reflex action, that how the reflex action take place. So first coming toward the structure of the spinal cord. The nerves arise from the spinal cord are known as spinal nerves. Nerves arise from the spinal cord are known as spinal nerves. Okay, this is spinal nerves. Spinal nerve. Okay, what is nerve? Simply we can say collection of only axon is called nerve. Collection of axon is called nerve, and the spinal nerves are the type of nerve which are arise from the spinal cord. Okay, this is the axon of sensory neuron. This one is axon of sensory neuron. Axon of sensory neuron. While this one is the axon of motor neuron. Axon of motor neuron. While this one is known as ganglion. Ganglion is actually consists of cell body. Okay, this one is known as dorsal root. While this one is known as ventral root. Ventral root. Okay, this one is known as interneuron. This portion is known as interneuron. Also called mixed neurons. Okay, now coming toward the mechanism of the reflex action. For example, jerking of knee, blinking of eye, and retracting of hand after touching a hard stove. So how it is taken place? So actually, in the first step of the reflex action, the sensory neuron or the axon of sensory neuron, or simply we can say sensory neuron, receive the stimulus from the environment and send it to the spinal cord. Here interneuron is present. Here processing of that message take place and make a impulse, and that type of impulse is coming toward from the spinal cord to the effector by the motor neuron. So actually in the reflex arc, sensory neuron, interneuron and axon of motor neuron, or simply we can say motor neuron, or we can say involved. In the first step, the sensory neuron receive the stimulus from the environment. Okay, what is stimulus? So in the any change that take place in environment which initiate a response is called stimulus. Any change in environment which initiate a response in the body is called what? Stimulus. So in the first step of the reflex action, the sensory neuron receive the stimulus or information and send that stimulus or information to the spinal cord. Here interneuron is present. Here analysis of that message take place and nervous impulse is formed, which is sent to what? Which is sent to the effector. Effector are also called muscles or gland. Okay, so this is the mechanism of the reflex action which just take place by the three type of neuron: sensory neuron, interneuron and motor neuron. Sensory neuron receive the stimulus from the environment, send it to the interneuron. Here analysis of that message take place and a nervous impulse is formed, which is sent by the motor neuron toward the effector, that is muscle or gland. But here in the reflex action only muscles are involved. Gland are also involved. For example, retracting of hand after touching a hot stove. Or we can say after touching tip of needle. So in the first step, the heat is the we can say the heat is the stimulus for the hand. Hand is actually अब क्या है, हैंड के ऊपर स्किन है, अब स्किन क्या है, ये सेंस ऑर्गन है. इनसाइड द स्किन सेंसरी न्यूरॉन इज प्रेजेंट. इन द फर्स्ट स्टेप द हीट इज परसीव्ड बाय द स्किन. इनसाइड द स्किन सेंसरी न्यूरॉन इज प्रेजेंट. सो एक्चुअली द हीट इज परसीव्ड बाय व्हाट? द सेंसरी न्यूरॉन. The heat is sent toward the spinal cord. Here analysis of that message take place and impulse is formed in the inside the spinal cord, which is sent by the motor neuron toward the muscle of the